State and federal authorities are now probing whether kids have worked at as many as half a dozen additional manufacturers throughout the automaker supply chain in Alabama.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
So I haven't prepared a really big segment on child labor, and probably will do something about it in the new year. I'm actually working on a piece for More Perfect Union on the child labor situation here in Alabama. And so maybe we'll play that when we come back from the new year if it's ready. But I wanted to talk to you about it just kind of off the cuff, because the news broke yesterday. And so that's one of the reasons that I haven't been able to prepare a big segment on it. But it's just astounding that it really is astounding that this is happening in Alabama today. And news broke less than 24 hours ago.
Man, I haven't heard it, and I'm scared. I'm scared to hear it.
It's like there's nothing in, there's like no, you're if you listen to like talk radio, they're not going to be talking about this at all. And so what the latest is just basically that there's more suppliers in the Hyundai Motor Company supply chain that have been caught using child labor. So previously there were two. There was one outside of Montgomery in Laverne, and there was one outside of Mobile. That was SL, Alabama. Smart Alabama was outside of Montgomery. Well, now there is a plant owned by Huashin America Corp, which is a supplier to Hyundai, in the South Alabama town of Greenville, and a plant owned by Agent Industrial Company in the East Alabama town of Cassetta. Both of these have been revealed to have been utilizing child labor, children under the age of 16 in manufacturing environments. I mean, again, just like the plants outside of Mobile and outside of Montgomery, these are manufacturing environments.
I work at a hospital. We see a lot of these people as patients, because machines are dangerous.
Yes,
they cut off fingers, they crush arms, and I mean they're built to make cars. And if you get in the way, you're not lasting very long.
And then state and federal agencies, according to Reuters, and I really recommend folks check out this Reuters piece. The title is "A Reuters Special Report: Child Workers Found Throughout Hyundai Kia Supply Chain in Alabama." The reporters are Mika Rosenberg, Christina Cook, and Joshua Schneier. Really great reporting. They interviewed over 100 current and former workers and managers and community members, just really extensive reporting on this situation. So I haven't even been able to fully digest everything in this report, but definitely recommend checking it out. And in addition to those four confirmed Hyundai suppliers in Alabama utilizing child labor, state and federal authorities are now probing whether kids have worked at as many as half a dozen additional manufacturers throughout the automaker supply chain in Alabama. So this is clearly a systemic issue. Like, this is not just, if it was just the Montgomery plant, which was the first thing to come out, if it was just these folks, maybe you could say, okay, this is a rogue manager at the Laverne plant who's going crazy, and it's just him or her that needs to be held accountable. But clearly, this is an entire systemic utilization of children in the United States of America in the year of our Lord 2022 here in Alabama. And so there has to be criminal liability for the executives of this company. If there's not, then what else would criminal liability be for? I mean, if somebody like you or I, Ben, or Adam, were to put children in the amount of danger that these executives are willingly putting them through on a day-to-day basis, we would be in jail.
Oh, for sure.
And the idea that these people are just able to go
what other laws
scot-free.
are they breaking if they're having children work in these? if they're having children work in these very dangerous plants, there's got to be some other stuff that and I just wonder about the documentation status of some of them, like how they, whether they're a victim of trafficking. Like I wonder a lot about these workers. Well, they shouldn't be workers, but they're workers now, unfortunately. But yeah, man, they're most likely they're impoverished people that are already at the will of some bad system. So it's tragic to hear that.
Yeah, really tragic. Most of these people are undocumented as far as I can tell. They're either undocumented or they have like a precarious documentation that's dependent on their employer. They've been able to secure fake IDs and stuff like that. And but the reporters that have talked to some of these workers, they've said like, oh yeah, I worked next to children, and it was obvious that they were children. But the ability for workers in these situations, which is why right-wing capitalists like the system of immigration that we have in this country as it is right now. That is why they like for undocumented immigrants to be demonized. They like all this rhetoric, anti-immigrant rhetoric, but it's why you're never going to see any sort of real solution, because they want the border to be porous, not because they want free labor with all of the rights of citizenship that entails, but they want precarious labor. They want undocumented immigrants who, if they get too uppity, they can deport at a moment's notice. They don't want people coming here with the full freedom and rights that are associated with citizenship. And that's why you don't see anything that's actually like something like open borders. You see this porous closed border that allows people to come in on a contingent basis, whether they're documented or not, that can be sent back at the whim of the boss.
So they can be exploited.
And this is the result. This is the result of that system. You're going to have 12, 13, 14-year-old children working in facilities with amputation hazards. And you're going to have the people who are supposed to be protecting them, people like the Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, not doing anything. It's just
how many reports is it going to take before we see? I'm curious, because like crazy.
It's really, really disgusting. So I wanted to give that to you. Definitely, again, check out their report. Reuters investigates undocumented and underage, and the title is Child Workers Found Throughout Hyundai Kia Supply Chain in Alabama.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m., and we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.